All right, welcome back to What She Says Sports, y'all. Breaking news, breaking news. We were gonna talk about Mike McDaniel, but the bum thieves that robbed Shedeur Sanders' house and took what did not belong to them have been identified. So we're going to pivot to that story, and they have some of them have already been in custody. So I believe the robbery happened on like November 6th. And the first person was arrested before the month's end. So they arrested them over time. They didn't say anything. They still waiting on the fourth person. They all now have been shared, names have been shared. They are from Georgia. So they are from Georgia. That's what's being said. They're from Georgia. And the first one was caught. I think this might be the first guy. So let's take a look at the names, the faces. You'll know, I don't know, I don't know how they got to Ohio. I don't know if they drove. I don't know if they flew. But when I first pulled it up, some told me to check it. They had different names. They had names associated with guys who had rap sheets going all the way back to 2010 that were in their 30s. And I was like, this don't look like them. So I refreshed, went back out, searched again in a different, like a different search term, and put in Medina County Sheriff, and it came up. So here we go. The first guy on your screen, suspect Maurice Xavier Taylor, was arrested on December 29th in connection with a November break-in at Browns quarterback Shedeur Sanders' Medina County home. So this is Maurice Xavier Taylor. He appears to be the oldest person, but I'm not 100% certain on his age, but he does appear to be the oldest person. And this is the second person. Let's see his name. Let's see, I have it here. His name. Hold on one second. I'll share their names first. Maurice Xavier Taylor, Jarvette Myrick, Maurice Xavier Taylor, DeAndres Jackson, and Carlos DeAnthony Morris. So y'all said yesterday that Bucky said something about he thought they mentioned the suspects were black. So apparently they knew something already. And it could have been because the first person, Jarvette Myrick, was arrested on November 26th. Then DeAndres Jackson was arrested on December 16th. I'm going to make myself smaller so y'all can see the screen. And then Maurice Xavier Taylor was arrested on the 29th. The fourth suspect, the getaway driver, Carlos DeAnthony Morris, remains at large with an active warrant for his arrest. So these guys are apparently from Georgia, apparently from Henry County, at least the first guy, Jarvette Myrick. Henry County has him listed, I guess, as one of their residents, or he got arrested there. And I'm assuming they got extradited back to Ohio. So it's given random. One thing we were right about is they did sit on the information, but they are trying to wait until they get this last guy. It explains why they closed the case, because they probably caught the first guy on the 26th and used him to get DeAndres on the 16th and Taylor on the 29th. So for whatever reason, Carlos DeAnthony Morris is giving them the toughest time, and he was the getaway driver. So I didn't hear anything else. This is the four guys. This is the four guys. They from Georgia. They're not from Ohio. Makes sense why those bags didn't pop up in Ohio. So as far as our theory of being related to the Browns inside job, maybe not. So let me know what y'all think happened here. Let me know if y'all feel like these guys saw video, drove from Georgia to Ohio, or flew there and decided to commit a robbery. Let me know your thoughts on that. So those are the suspects. And like I said, I think they have three. This is one of them as well. This is what's this is? This is the DeAndres Jackson. Now I don't know their ages. I know on another like in another system, I could see the ages, but those weren't the right people. So I don't know how that happened. This is the guy, Jarvette Myrick, who was arrested first. He was arrested first, and then they got the other people, looks like 2 weeks at a time, and they waiting on the fourth person. So, yep, that's them. That's who that is. So That's who they are. So the suspects have been identified, and they closed the case because one probably told on the other. And when they get the last guy, that'll just be that. And they're clearly working with the counties that they're from in Georgia. Now, I read somebody was from Atlanta, but I think that was another case. And they just kind of had it mixed up, in my opinion, with the wrong people. So I don't know if these guys are like seasoned criminals, etc. But these are the guys that robbed Shedeur. So Bucky knew something, likely because they arrested the one guy first. So they had these guys working, I guess, 2 weeks apart, arrested them 2 weeks apart, and they decided to go ahead and close the case because it's taking a little longer to get the getaway driver. So any thoughts on that? Any thoughts on that? Let me know your thoughts. So this is how Bucky kind of knew something. Now, for those people who thought that maybe Shedeur found this information out, I think he already knew. I think he already kind of knew. They probably were keeping him updated. Hey, we got one person, and then we got the second person, and we got the third. So I don't really know if that's what happened from how should I say it, from walking off the field to the podium. And I don't think that that's what Jerry Judy was talking about in terms of if only y'all knew what he posted. So one thing has been resolved. One box can be checked off. They got the guys. Now, whether or not it was a true inside job, because again, I don't know how you just get in the car, drive from Georgia, and rob somebody at 646, and they just so happen to be playing in a football game. I don't know. It's just a little too lucky. But I could see them looking at the video, right? Looking at Florida, looking at Bucky trying to figure out who's who. And again, can't explain why it is that Bucky wasn't there. Maybe he had something to do. Again, it's just all kind of convenient. I told y'all they waited until after everybody left to reveal who these guys were. So I was right about that part. Now, people said they were white, but somehow they all black, and they not. And we kind of knew they weren't from the area because we said those bags would have turned up. But I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. I don't know. How do you feel about Bucky conveniently not being there? Haslam showing, I don't know, some kind of whatever with those kids with the 12 jerseys on. Bucky go missing or whatever. He not there. These guys not, and you supposedly case in the house, and you knew to come with mask, and I don't know. It's just a little too neatly packaged for me. It's just a little too neatly packaged. I'm not saying it's not them. I'm just saying, coming in with a signal jammer, I'm driving from Georgia, and you didn't take, and that's all you took was some bags and some hats and some sunglasses. Do you know how far Ohio is from Georgia? How far is it, damn it? Is it 6 hours? Is it 8? Bruh, I don't know. I don't know. Ohio from Georgia. I'm going to just say Ohio from Georgia. We'll just go from center to center. Ohio from Georgia. It takes 11 freaking hours to drive from Ohio to Georgia. And you want to tell me they showed up with signal jammers and only left with some bags, hats, and purses? And Bucky wasn't there. And has them showing the kids with the 12 jerseys on. I don't know. Again, everybody don't have signal jammers. Everybody don't even use signal jammers to rob people. And then so you trying to tell me they drove there 11 hours, or did somebody get them some airplane tickets? I mean, I'm thinking you drove there because you left with the stuff. You only left with the stuff you could carry. You didn't get his jewelry. I don't know. I don't know. It's just a little too. It's just a little too convenient that Bucky wasn't there. Then again, maybe it was Bucky that's the reason why he wasn't there. I don't know. It's just a little too. And I told you they waited until everybody was gone, and that is weird because why? I mean, honestly, why? If you arrested And you could have told me this yesterday. If you arrested dude on 26 before Thanksgiving or right around Thanksgiving, then you got the other one December 16th. You could have said, "Oh, we're making progress. We got these two, or we got these three December 29th before New Year's." And you still don't have a fourth suspect, so that's why you didn't tell me. You did not tell me that. I'm just saying, I don't know. Driving 11 hours for some bags and some hats and some sunglasses, and you got a signal jammer, and Bucky was there, and they were all over the video looking at Bucky in Florida trying to figure out who's who, and how they know where he live at. Not everybody know where Shedeur live at. I don't think he bought that house. How the hell they know where he live at? It's not like you saw an address, and if you did, people thought Shedeur lived in Cleveland. That's not even Cleveland. How did these four ain't given? They not giving Inspector Gadget. They not giving Ocean's 12. It's not giving Ocean's 12. It's not giving Ocean's 11 or Ocean's 8. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's not given the four people I'm looking at. And I want to tell you something. When they showed some other people's names, when they was like the people card at Sanders' house is this person, I clicked on the person's name, and dude had a rap sheet going back to 2012, and he was a part of a burglary ring of jewelry, and that person ain't in this list. So see, there are thieves out there you can find and get to do something for you, and that's just what it's giving. Why would you get 4 thieves from Georgia? Why would 4 random thieves from Georgia slide all the way from Ohio when Bucky is conveniently not there after Haslam shows up with these kids with the 12 to find Shedeur not living in Cleveland? And you couldn't tell us this yesterday, and you been had some of these guys bit by bit by bit, but you waited until everybody's gone. And you still don't have a fourth one. Not saying they ain't do it. I'm saying did somebody hire them to do it? That's where I'm going with this, because this ain't making no sense. Who drives 11 hours from Georgia for that? And think about it. They could have did exactly what I said. I'm like, it's surprising they didn't pull up, take the plate off the car while they was waiting down the street, roll up, pop the trunk. If you from Georgia, what you worried about? What they gonna be looking for? What? So I'm assuming that they tracked them on the freeway. So understand this: if you dumb enough to get in the car and drive 11 hours from the state of Georgia to the state of Ohio and find Shedeur Sanders in a house that's probably not in his damn name, that's not in the city of Cleveland, and all you take when you got a signal jammer and we see you talking to somebody on the phone, who are you calling? Who are you calling? You take a picture, you send it, you call, then you kick it in. Bullshit. And all you leave with is what you could carry. And you going through his nightstands. For what? You should have took every goddamn thing in that closet. Instead, it was on the floor, which meant you was looking for something. Sunglasses, hats, and bags. What the hell are you gonna do with that? In Georgia, you can sell that bag, I'm sure, but it's going up on the internet. No, bruh. No, bruh. Nah. Mm-mm. It's too convenient. They wait till everybody left, till Cleveland was done. It's not, it's given hired because it don't make no sense for people to be looking at. And honestly, if they don't watch football, how the hell they know about Bucky? Let's just be honest. If you don't watch football, you're not into this. And I still want to know how the hell you found Shedeur. I would love to know that, because he don't even have a driver's license in Cleveland. And people thought he lived in Cleveland. He lives 30 minutes in the opposite direction. So it's still an inside job. Because who were they calling? Who did they take the picture for? Send it. Who did they call? Then kick the door in. Explain it. Unless somebody Shedeur knows hired 4 people to come from Georgia. That's the only thing that would make sense. It's somebody that knows Shedeur's address that they were communicating with. And they kicked the door in and they called for confirmation. So that ain't random. Random thieves don't call back to Georgia and say, is this the house? How the hell they know? Did they fly up here? No. This is an inside job. I'm telling you, it's the inside job. The question is it inner circle inside job? And if you know Shedeur, I would imagine that you probably have access to whatever he got. And you didn't get the jewelry. Oh, okay. This is an inside job. Getting people from out of state makes sense. Random thieves would have took the plate off the car, probably not. After 11 hours. And popped the trunk and put everything in it and went back to Georgia. Oh, let's drive 11 hours. Bruh, that's not easy. 11 hours? That's a whole work day plus some. This is an inside job. This is an inside job. It's not a coincidence Bucky was not there. It's not a coincidence we saw them calling, taking a photo to confirm, calling. It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. In the newspaper, it said the door was unlocked. That's a lie. They kicked it in. It's not. It's not a coincidence they didn't tell us this yesterday. Because everybody gone from Cleveland. It's given hired. And that's what I said. I said it's given somebody hired some boosters and sent them on a job to this particular address. So they called. When they got to Ohio and got to the house, they probably drove past the house once or twice. And it's probably people picking them up on Ring cameras. Drove past the house once or twice. We found the house. But when it was time to do the job, what did they do? They looked around. This is it. Took a photo, sent it, called, kicked the door in before they kicked the door in, they flashed a signal. Everybody doesn't have a signal jammer. Ain't no way you gonna convince me that with Bucky not there, somebody just hopped into the car, 4 dudes from Georgia, and said, and they didn't do that shit for free. Ain't nobody riding with you for free for 11 hours to go randomly rob a house and you don't know who in there. On the field, his mama not there. They know she in a seat because she got her tickets. No, bruh. This is an inside job. The question is, who hired them? Were they hired by somebody that Shedeur knew? Somebody that don't like Shedeur? Or his employer? Whether it's the same people that gave out his phone number to 2,000 people, what, you think they ain't capable? His own organization that abused him and clearly we don't want you, we don't value you, didn't want him there. So much so, it seems Andrew Berry used his connections in Philly and Baltimore to try to get Shedeur to go there, which means they didn't want him there. So on the day I make my debut that my head coach never wanted me to have, surprisingly making a debut, supposedly, but it was staged. Just like that robbery. That was an inside job. Not a surprise they're not from there. Let me see what y'all, that's the inside job, bro. I'm telling you right now, that's what that is. Like, that's not, that don't even make sense. They would have to know him to know where he lived. You're not going to just watch a video. You don't just watch a video, guys, and decide, oh, we're going to rob Shedeur and look him up on the internet and find a house that's not in his name, that's not associated with the city that he plays in. How do you know where he lived? Somebody told you. And the somebody that told you is the people you called. Understand this. If I know who you are, I have your cell phone records. I know exactly who you called. Unless you're using a burner. But if I got them one by one, somebody talking. This is interesting. I find it very, very interesting. Somebody hired them. And maybe we find out who the somebody is. Now, Maybe the sad look on Shedeur's face at the podium was they told him they tracked down not just the guys, because I'm pretty sure they were keeping him up, that they were catching the thieves. And Bucky said, y'all told y'all said something about him saying somehow they were black, because they knew. They knew. This is an inside job. The question is, who did the hiring? This is not random. You don't call people before you kick the door in. You don't take a picture before you kick the door in to confirm that you got the right house when you from Georgia. 11 hours away. That was to make sure they had no connection to the city at all. If somebody needed a job done. And honestly, I mean, damn. If you didn't hire your cousins, I don't know. That's what makes me go, somebody that he knew got people that they knew. And either they didn't like him, because if you play football with him, you got money. Somebody hired those guys. And maybe that's what they told him before he stepped on the podium. And it's somebody that he know. We will find out eventually. It will come out. I want to see what y'all saying. All right. Hey, how you doing? It's definitely an inside job. It's not random. It said, hey, by design, how you doing? Let me know if y'all heard something too since this came out. Hey, Miss Pamela, how you doing? Hey, Nikki Soul Fit, how you doing? B. Thomas, how you doing? Hey, Gracie, welcome back. Welcome back. It said, I didn't see the thumbnail. What we talking about? It said the robbery thieves caught and Mike McDaniels fired for Miami. Thank you. It says, yeah. So, I don't know, y'all. Some look fishy. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Were they paid to do the job? Thank you. It's giving, yes. 4 dudes from Georgia. And none of them look like Ocean's 11. None of them. None of them. With a signal jammer? So you knew that was an alarm. I can figure that out from the video. But a signal jammer, 11 hours from Georgia for some hats, some sunglasses, and some bags? How dumb do you have to be? And I just, it's not random. It's not random, but the question is, who hired them? That's the question. And anybody that's thinking that they saw a video and drove 11 hours to only get hats, sunglasses, and bags when they took the contents of his nightstand and left the shit in the closet on the floor. The floor. Not in the trunk, and drove it back to Georgia. Calling, Bucky not there. No. Baby, I was not born that night. And maybe it's my being from New Orleans skills. Maybe that's it. And that I promise you, that has everything to do with it. Your foundation and who you are. And I didn't grow up rough or whatever, but I guess I just learned a lot. I learned a lot. And no. No, this is an inside job. They were hired. The question is, by who? And it's too many details that made it convenient. That's why they robbed him at 646, because they was headed back to Georgia. I don't know. Maybe they didn't want to check into a hotel. Did somebody pay for a hotel? You drove 11 hours? Did you time it right to get to the state of Ohio and to Medina County at 646 when he happened to be playing in the second half of a game the public didn't know he was playing in, but people in Cleveland did? While Bucky wasn't there and Cleveland hires Bucky? This was no accident. This was intentional. And I could see that being the reason for the look on his face headed to the podium. This was an inside job, a hired inside job. The question is, who did the hiring? It said the detectives did say he believes they are robbery for hire. It said people, but he couldn't prove it. That's bullshit. How you don't prove it? They got paid, didn't they? What, they got paid cash? They got paid cash. Who they met up with? It's called contact tracing. If I can tell you who's in your house, who's been in your house for the last 12 hours, I can tell you where you've been and who been with you. So if you got paid in cash, they slid you some money. What they do? Leave it under a rock? It is the robbery for hire. And the fact that they can't say who it is and they close the case when Cleveland rats and they don't even have the fourth person. So why you close the case now? Why you announce it now when Cleveland is done? Yeah, it's definitely a robbery for hire. It's definitely that. And I ain't even read that. I didn't watch the press conference. I just read and start doing research to see if I could find out who was who. Like I said, there was a guy named that erroneously, apparently, and I clicked on him and it told me damn near every place he had been arrested. So I said, oh, that's somebody that's part of it's called him like a jewelry ring. And they was in Hilton Head. They was all over the place. And I was like, what? Damn. But the age didn't make sense. 32, 38. I'm like, no. That's not their age. It's definitely a robbery for hire. Who did the hiring? And I could see that making Shedeur sad because now you don't know. Look at how I've been treated around here. And then you got to look in your inner circle, and who would that be? But why from Georgia? When the NFL gave out Shedeur Sanders' phone number to 2,000 people, and that prank was recorded, I want you to know, if that prank was not recorded, we would have never known anything. And they lied. They said it was the Falcons right here in Georgia. And I'm not saying it's them. It could be somebody closer to him. And that would make me really sad too. Like, I don't know who his house manager is, but maybe it's somebody like that. Right? I don't know who his house manager is, but maybe it's somebody like that. And they got somebody that knew somebody, because that's what they do. They're going to get somebody that knows somebody. You're not that close to the situation. You're going to get somebody to get somebody to get somebody else. So you 3 degrees are separated away so it don't come back on you. That's how it goes. But they would definitely rob for hire. You don't drive from Georgia for just those simple things. And honestly, they say they could prove it, but all I need to know is from Bucky, did you voluntarily not go to Cleveland? Or did they not invite you that week? Because here's the thing, he know. He know. And then when he came back, they eased him back in by him doing pregame only. And he was in the box, the booth or whatever. Because he even said it, I'm only pregame. I'm like, oh, they easing him back in. That's not a coincidence. You don't drive 11 hours from Georgia and luck up on nobody being home at 6:46. And this is a game that Shedeur's playing in and didn't nobody play. They ain't robbed him in the first quarter. They robbed him in the second one when he was on the field. Won't be coming home with a nosebleed because he's playing. Definitely robbery for hire. And based on the information, unless Shedeur knew he was playing in the game and told somebody, and he only probably told that to maybe 1 or 2 people. And whoever he told that to knew that. And a house manager would know, a house manager clearly would have the information to pick up the phone and say, yeah, they're not there or whatever. Because I'm sure they called to see if the house was clear. And somebody said, yeah. Because what else you calling for before you kick the door? You already identified you was at the right place. So it's somebody with intimate knowledge that Shedeur was not home, and neither was anybody else, including Bucky and Florida, because that's who they was looking at on the video. They didn't even spend a lot of time looking at the stuff in the closet. That was flat. But they was looking outside on the driveway where the cars were, but they didn't disturb the cars. But they cleaned out the contents of his nightstand. You got all that shit. Why are you worried about what's in the nightstand? And they didn't just rummage through it. They took it. Leverage. House managers don't need leverage. It definitely was a robbery for hire. But it's pointing to the employer. I heard them say in the presser that Myles Garrett had been robbed too, but they didn't say when it happened. It said a reporter asked, were these guys associated with the ones who hit his place? It said, who are these guys? It said from Georgia to go to Cleveland. Right. That don't make no damn sense, bruh. That don't make no sense. It makes sense if you don't want nobody to, you know how people talk. You know how people talk, right? I'm from Georgia. If they go run and tell somebody I hit up a lick or whatever, It ain't gonna get back to Cleveland if you don't say it's Shedeur. But I'm gonna tell you something about Georgia. I'm gonna tell you something. It ain't a big place. It is not a big place. And the fact that those bags haven't shown up on the internet yet, and y'all know people be watching. I don't know, guys. Sunglasses, hats, and bags, 11 hours. No, no. And they called somebody, had a signal jammer. No. This was definitely a robbery for hire. And I'm telling you, the details about Bucky, the posturing by the owner, the way Shedeur was abused, the fact that we don't want you. I mean, that's how they was treating him, kicking him like he was a rabid dog and get the hell on, or just mistreating him real bad. And basically still snubbing him. Just not abusing him, but still snubbing him. They don't want him there. They don't want him there. And it's not like everything we've seen from the NFL is on the up and up, because for one, the whole prank thing, that they lied about that, and they said it was Atlanta. And I was like, why the hell would they say it was Atlanta? To make it seem personal. And they flat out lied. And as far as I'm concerned, they made up that cockamamie story about that boy going to his daddy iPad. And let's see if his father gets rewarded like Mark Andrews got rewarded. Don't act like these people on the up and up. They're not. They flat out lied to your faces and never came back and addressed. And Joe Schoen got to keep his job. And that kid supposed to date his daughter. That means they don't give a damn. So with people like that, hire somebody? Yeah. Because when you listen to all of the gambling scandals, that's exactly what they do. They get people like that. To do what? Influence these college kids to cheat. Look at every gambling scandal. It was never the basketball player's idea. I bet you 10-1, Chauncey Billups went to a poker game with a lot of other people. But because gambling at home apparently is illegal, that was leverage that somebody had on him and was going to use it against him to force him to take down everybody else. And when that ring got busted, all they did was black people. People were like, hold on for a second. And what happened to Gilbert Arenas? He gets arrested because they say it was at his house and he lost his show. And whose agenda are they pushing on that show? So you think for 5 seconds that people that do shit like that wouldn't, hey, I need you to find somebody. And they go to one person and one person go to another person and they go get them guys. Oh, they're not from here, so there won't be no trace back. Yeah, they can track them on the freeway from Georgia all the way to Atlanta, unless somebody bought them some plane tickets, from Georgia to Ohio, unless somebody bought them some plane tickets and a hotel. But I'm thinking that wasn't the case. But they called somebody. And I don't know how you can say you can't prove it's a robbery for hire when they call somebody. Even if it was a burner phone, you still can ping off the tower every call that was made. And it goes back to the number. The number goes back to some records. You got cell service, so you got information. It's a little too convenient that they couldn't prove who did it. It's too convenient that they were black from another state to come get some bullshit. It's so packaged neatly while Bucky's not there. No, bro. Yeah, it's a robbery for hire, but it ain't random. It ain't random in terms of, hey, I saw this guy, he got some jewelry, go rob him. It ain't that. And to throw Myles Garrett out there, that's exactly what happened when Shedeur first got robbed. They immediately talked about Pat Mahomes. The people who robbed Pat Mahomes are in jail already. Now they talking about Myles Garrett. Did Myles Garrett get robbed at the same time as Shedeur? You see how they want to keep lumping it up with something? And nobody's talking about the finer details. The girl following Shedeur around, paid on the clock by the Browns while he in street clothes. So maybe not the NFL, But don't be surprised if it's the Browns. Because that's who it's pointing back to. And to me, that's why when you put it all together, the posturing with the 12 jerseys, Stefanski's done good work for us, right? Shedeur finally gets in. It was done like begrudgingly. Coach Prime said he thought he knew when Shedeur was going to play, and he said he knew he thought it was going to be Baltimore. So somebody knew something. So let's say the Sanders knew Shedeur was going to get in the second half. Who else knew? That would get some people from Georgia to come get some bullshit after 11 hours of driving. And they got to go back 11 more hours. That's 22 hours. You ain't do that for free. And you didn't do it alone because you called somebody. And it's too neatly packaged on the back end by the police. You already had 3 in custody. You wait on the 4th. You close the case. You don't reveal their identities. And when you do, everybody in Cleveland is somewhere else. The police know it was a robbery for hire. They just might not want to tell who did the hiring. That's what I'm thinking the sticking point is. And for them to say, we can't prove it, you were able to identify 4 people that not even in the state of Ohio, and you can't figure out who hired them. You used all of that technology to find them. I know you did. But you can't find out who they communicated with to determine who hired them. That's false. Did you just see what happened in Venezuela? How they went in, and before they went in, they set up things so they could get the president and the guy, Maduro, and his wife. I watched a documentary on that. I watched a documentary on how that went down. The CIA put somebody in their group to infiltrate to find out where Maduro was going to be. Remember that girl following Shedeur around off the clock? Something like that. Something like that. And she knew he was going to be playing. Everybody probably knew. I think you got to look at somebody in the Browns organization because they had his address because he worked there, or they knew where he lived. People knew he lived 30 minutes in the opposite direction. They knew that. They knew that. I just don't buy the story that they could find out who hired them. I just don't buy it. I just don't buy it. Myles Garrett's house was robbed. He was involved in a major. It said he wasn't robbed. I don't know. It said he wasn't robbed. Y'all said it said Myles Garrett's house got robbed. I don't know if he ever came up when I was searching for athletes who got robbed. It said there's no significant news of Myles Garrett's home being robbed in the immediate past. It said most recent headlines focus on his sack record and game. That's it. Reports of house robberies in the news offers involve other athletes like Shedeur Sanders. That's it. It don't say nothing about Myles Garrett. And when I checked when Shedeur got robbed, I said Cleveland Brown players who have been robbed. He was the only one. It came right back to him. It came right back to him. So we know that this is not random. We know it's a robbery for hire. I don't buy the story that they can't find out who it is. I told you if it took a long time, they know. And it did take a long time to arrest them. It took them a long time to tell us about it. And they still don't have the other guy. So what you was sitting on it for? You ain't had to tell me shit, to be honest. I ain't got to never know anyway. And maybe they wanted to surprise the first 3, and that's why they didn't tell nobody. But you still don't have a 4th one. It's just gonna rest at a warrant. You gonna go look for him? Maybe the police in the area where he lived will look. But you could do all of that, trace it all the way back, 11 hours away by car, passing I don't know how many states, and you can't find out who it is they was communicating with, even though they stood there on camera and called. It said all the way from small Henry County in Georgia, someone hired them. Fact, like, yeah, people probably ain't never heard of Henry County. Most people know about Fulton or the Cab or something like that. Yep. I think the guy Jarvette is the one that they said something about Henry County. I think they watched the video. Here's the thing. Somebody watched the video, but they wasn't watching the stuff in the closet. They wasn't watching that scene. They was watching Bucky's face and they was watching Florida's face. Because I put you can go back to it. It's still probably the same. I went right back to the most watched parts. You put the cursor on it. Florida's face. You put the cursor on it. Bucky's face. You put the cursor on it. Shedeur talking to Jordan Seaton. You put the cursor on it again. Bucky and Shedeur on the driveway, and it points right to the camera up. You would have took way more than that for 22 hours on the road for hats, sunglasses, and bags. Bruh, get the hell out of here with that. But you got a signal jammer. But that's all you get. Yeah, okay. All right. All right. No, absolutely not. They were definitely hired. And we know they was talking to somebody. We saw it. I'm not at the part if this is murder for hire. I mean, not murder for hire, but robbery for hire. Of course it is. Of course it is. Here's the question. The loose ends, the details, points to the Browns. I'm not ashamed. It points to the Browns. Started with Haslam with them damn kids and ended with the police saying, oh, yeah, we think it's a robbery for hire, but we can't find them. And they waited until everybody is gone from Cleveland. They waited not to just the last game. They waited until business is done. The normal course of business, when players are headed to airports to go home, that's when they want to tell. And with the way the Browns treated Shedeur, they have to be suspect number one. They do. They have to be suspect number one because they know where he lived at. That house is not in his name. And I feel like when they said the initial story was the burglars, the thieves just walked through the door because unfortunately a door was unlocked. Bullshit. You could see the door was kicked in. Who would tell that information to reporters? And then it went viral on the internet and we saw for ourselves just like the prank. And you're like, they lying. Both times. It's the same thing. Sliding in on another activity so people won't notice. Lying and scapegoating. Blaming it on the Falcons right here in Georgia. And it wasn't them. It's the Giants. So you protecting somebody. Who they protecting? I would imagine if them four was hired by somebody that knew Shedeur, you ain't get paid that much. If you stealing Shedeur shit and you friends with him, you ain't got that much money. Unless you play, unless you it's somebody on the team, like a Jerry Jeudy or Devin Bush or somebody like that. Now, if they did it, again, how do you not know? How do you not trace that back to the person they was talking to on the phone, but you identified them 11 hours away in Georgia? Small Henry County, Georgia, at that. And you didn't say the bags popped up in Georgia and some random internet person saw it. You didn't say that. Who they protecting? When you look at the prank and how they lied, and then the truth came out, and you look at how they lied about how this robbery went, they walked through the door like somebody is either careless or somebody in Shedeur's circle left the door unlocked. But that's a lie. They kicked it in. That's just like the prank. And while maybe in this scenario, you don't look at the NFL because that was the draft, The NFL was in on that. You have to look at the Browns. You have to do it because they were the ones that Bucky wasn't there and they hired him. You have to look at him. And to me, that's why the police are so quick to say, yeah, we think it's a robbery for hire, but we couldn't identify it. Case closed, bye, we gone. Because if it was a player, they would have been happy to tell. One of Shedeur's teammates did this. They would have been happy to tell you that. One, so the Browns don't have to pay them. Or did they? They would have been happy to tell that. This wasn't random. Who they protected? It said Shedeur Sanders should stay out of Atlanta. It said he has community and family. This ain't got nothing to do with Atlanta. This ain't got shit to do with the state of Atlanta. Believe me, if it was Atlanta, they would have been caught. They would have been caught unless they some students and they went home for the summer, but it ain't giving that. This ain't got shit to do with Atlanta, and I ain't seen Shedeur here. So if you said Miami, I would say okay. This don't have nothing to do with that. Y'all can't overthink this situation, especially when the evidence is right there for you. That's too far to drive for some Louis bags. That's bruh, no. That was your reward for doing the job, even though you probably, and maybe you got paid in what you took. But again, I'm gonna need some money because 11 hours, I need gas, I need food, and I got 3 partners with me. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Shedeur had way too much shit in that closet for them to leave behind, including that AK, right? Did I see AK? Come on now. I would have took that. He ain't do nothing with it and sold it. Get the hell out of here, bro. People like that would have took that. This was a job. They went to look for something. That's why the stuff was on the floor in the closet. They didn't take everything. They only took what they could carry. Bags, hats, and sunglasses. 22 hours for that bullshit. Now they protecting somebody. The police are protecting somebody. Just like the NFL was protecting the Giants and they lied and said it was the Falcons because they wanted you to think it was personal. This is the same thing. They want you to think it's personal because they black and they from Georgia. I don't know why that is. No, it's not personal. It said the driver was paid for the job and got 3 goofies to do the part. Somebody was paid. I don't know, but that could be possible. Yep, the whole thing is suspect. Hired out of town crew. Thank you, Sugar Creek. Absolute setup, just like we suspected. I'm sad they also silly to commit this crime. It's hired help everywhere. It said, I'm not buying it. Sounds fishy. Yep. I agree. Something in this explanation doesn't fit right. Yep, definitely hired. Definitely hired. Sounds very weird. Could be no. See, okay, let me explain just a few things. Okay. Somebody's asking about Boog. Okay. The reason I say no is because he has too much to gain. He's not only just associated with Shedeur, he's also associated with Travis. I'm not risking that for hats, bags, and sunglasses. What would he get out of it? Because what would he get out of it? That's what you have to ask yourself. What did they get out of it? Nobody believes they drove 22 hours for hats, bags, and sunglasses. No. You could have hit up a damn Louis store a couple of times on the way here. No. The police are protecting somebody. That's what it is. They protected somebody. I'm gonna tell you that's what it is. After seeing what happened with the draft and how they protected Joe Schoen and his daughter and her boyfriend and the Giants, they even fired the scouts. Look at how they scapegoated Coach Prime. I mean, these people have shown you what they're capable of. This is happening over here. Look, they did it. No. You just saw what happened in draft didn't have nothing to do with what happened in Cleveland. And you saw how they didn't want him there in Cleveland, and they still don't. They don't even want him to be a bridge solution. They feel like they want him gone, so much so, it seemed like Andrew Berry was trying to find him somewhere else to go. You think it's a coincidence that the 2 teams that called Andrew Berry work at one and his former boss work at the other? Get the hell out of here. And they want to spin it like it was Harbaugh. No, it don't, because he didn't want Lamar to win. He wants to do over there. Yeah, behind Cooper Rush. And Cooper Rush would have got way more playing time, win or lose. It wouldn't have been like with Huntley. They don't even believe in Huntley. That's why they let him play. They wouldn't have let Shedeur play like that. Not a coincidence they even picked for Shedeur to play against Lamar and not even talk about it. They knew. They knew. And somebody else knew too. And Bucky wasn't there. I ain't gonna never get over that part because he was there for everything else. Did they send him on assignment to Carolina? Seemed like once he started regularly filming the Browns, he wasn't doing Carolina no more, right? But he wasn't there for that week. And right before that, has him with the little kids. Yeah, it's giving the Browns because they had his information. They knew where he'd be. They already got somebody bird dogging him while off the clock in street clothes. The girl. They already got that. So why would I think it's not them? You already got somebody following him in street clothes. You know where he living. You knew he was going to be in a game. It's all pointing back to the Browns, baby. It's pointing back to the Browns. And that prank is very telling. The prank tell you what they're capable of. Once you find out what people are capable of, you can't go back. Can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. And I want you to know something. If Harbaugh didn't get fired, I wouldn't even know Sashi Brown was Andrew Berry's old boss because I ain't looking at him like that. Now that I know that, what else do I know? I know it was Andrew Berry that made those calls happen because of who the connections were. His brother and his old boss. You see how I know that? And before somebody said, the police said it was robbery for hire, what did I put together? Robbery for hire. Guess what else we gonna find out? Who it was. Another detail will come out. Yeah. It said 1 + 1 ain't adding up to 2 in this scenario. Facts. It said, this is not about Louis Vuitton bags inside. Someone sent them there. Yeah, somebody sent them there. And Steve, the reason why I am suspicious of it being, which I don't realize is when the media, the news people put out the first story, where did they make you look? Inside, as somebody Shedeur knew, or that he's careless and didn't secure his property. That's the first place they made you look. Right at him. Oh, this is somebody you know. Oh, you didn't secure your property. The fact that that's what they started with. That's what they started with. Pointing the finger at him or his crew. And suddenly, you got 4 guys from Georgia. And you don't know who the hell they was talking to on the phone. But you can find them. And you probably use that damn internet system that they got, that interstate system. I have watched them do this. I have watched them trace a car from a house all the way to Valdosta or Augusta, Georgia. I know they're in 2 different directions, but I forget which one it was. You could see the car at different intervals on freeways. Yeah. And they could do the same thing with them. Remember, I looked up the exit. There's only one exit to get to Shedeur's the area because it's small. It's small. There's only one exit and probably a back road. And they probably tracked them that way. And they work with Henry County to get them on this side. But it stopped, and they so quick that they just closed the case. Oh yeah, robbery for hire. We can't figure out who it is. No. See, I said Shedeur should have hired a private detective because it's important to know who it was that hired them. It's very important. And the fact that they closed the case and want to push off lets you know it's not nobody in his camp. They would have been happy to tell that. It's pointing at the Browns, baby. It's pointing at the Browns. Over 700 miles. Yeah, and that's there and back. I'm like, did they fly there? I'm like, did they fly there and had suitcases with them to put their stuff in? Because they only took what they could carry. And they probably put the hats in and hats, sunglasses, and bags. Brian, no, 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 no. It's not happening like that. How about paid to take the fall for the white boys that really did it? It's possible. It's possible. It's possible. I really think they hired them though. What they had on didn't make sense though. See, if somebody sitting in a 404, they wasn't dressed like no Georgia boys. One thing I have learned about Atlanta, and everybody outside Atlanta want to be a part of Atlanta. That's why there's a song called "So and So Is Not Atlanta" because everybody wants to gravitate here. It's just like the Dallas thing, right? Everybody outside of Dallas. Oh, I'm from Dallas. No, you're not. But they walk, they talk from Dallas, right? It's the same thing with Atlanta. It's the same thing. And I told you, people come here, right? It's an hour from everywhere. 2 hours. 80% of the population lives 2 hours from Atlanta. So understand this. You found people that live in an area where 80% of the population live. Ah, no. And you can't tell me who they was talking to on that phone. You can't tell me who they was texting, who they sent that picture to. That's bullshit. As somebody that works in technology, that's a lie. What did I tell y'all when this first happened? I said, if they take a long time to tell you who it is, they already know. Was I wrong? No. No, I wasn't. I ain't wrong about this either. You got to look at the Browns. I don't care if it point back to somebody that worked there that thought it made sense. But why would they go get somebody from Georgia? They wouldn't. The only reason why you get somebody 700 miles away is so there's no talk or just no way to point. And I knew when them bags didn't pop up in Cleveland at none of them little stores because I looked. They got, resale stores or pawn. You can't look at pawn shops. I said, okay, them bags are not in the area because they too distinctive. Don't be surprised if I'm out and about in Atlanta and y'all see me. This look for me. I didn't even realize it myself with using photos that Shedeur has that he put out that I had several photos of his bags. The champagne looking Louis bag. Ain't nobody got that. That orange one. Don't nobody have that. Nobody has that. No, nobody. And I thought to myself, I said, the bags gonna pop up because they're too distinctive. And I thought if this was a job that somebody was hired to do, they could have just threw all that stuff away. But no, I think that was their reward. I know they got paid, but that was take what you want to get while you in there. The fact that they cleared out the contents of his nightstands and threw the stuff in his closet on the floor rather than taking it tells you they were looking for something. I think they were looking for leverage. That's what I think. And that's shameful because the fact that they're saying they can't tell who hired them, that means it just kind of leaves it open, right? Meaning Shedeur will never fully know. But remember what Shedeur said. Remember what Shedeur said. He said, I have the press conference. I'm gonna share it. He said, um, I'm glad. That's what he said. All right, I'm gonna get ready to play this. All right, hold on one second. Is it make sure it's right? Oh, that's somebody else. Is that somebody else? Oh no, that's somebody else. I'll try this one. When he said that, I'm glad it happened the way it did. it just gave the impression that there was something about the way that it happened. And from what I could see, the way that it happened was Bucky wasn't there. And I said that multiple times. 3 arrested in burglary at Shedeur Sanders' home. All right, let's see if we could share this because, I don't know. Let's see. Maybe y'all have seen it already. All right. Let me know if y'all can see my screen. All right, you can see my screen now. Okay. All right, let's take a look. So wait, was that their little rental car? So they rented a car.
December 20.
So they rented that.
In this fourth slide, the suspect vehicle is seen from a neighboring residence security camera.
Didn't I say that? Somebody else ring cam or something like that picked up the car.
As well as an additional photograph of the suspect vehicle, which was captured by the flock camera system.
The flock camera system, that's them freeway cameras.
In the fifth slide, the suspects can be seen on security camera footage acquired from the Red Roof Inn located in Medina Township, where the suspects rented a room and stayed the night prior to committing the burglary.
So they actually had a hotel room. So there was an exchange of money somewhere. Okay.
The success of the investigation and arrest stemmed from an excellent collaboration with the DeKalb County Police Uniform and Gang Unit, City of Atlanta Police Department, the Milton Police Department, the Brookhaven Police Department, the United States Secret Service, ATF Group 7, the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office, and the Medina County Prosecutor's Office.
So you had all of that help working together. Did he say the Secret Service? And you can't tell me who hired them. They had a rental car. They had a hotel. They had to eat. It's 22 hours. Yeah, you got to stay. And they robbed him at 6:46, not midnight. Why didn't he do it at midnight? He just so happened to be playing. This is definitely they protected somebody. I don't care what nobody said. That's too much law enforcement to put all of this together, and you don't know who and they don't want to tell who hired them. That's huge, bro.
We'll now open the floor up to any questions you may have.
I'll go back to the beginning one more time and just let it play through.
Seems that maybe
I got to talk through it. So what y'all thinking now that you know they had a hotel, the Red Roof Inn, I think. What are you thinking about that? Now that you know. Hold on 1 second. Now that you know that's what it is. You know what? Forget it. I'll just put the link in there and let y'all watch it. I'll put the link in the comments and let y'all watch it because I ain't trying to get caught up. Let's see. The link is in the comments if y'all want to watch the press conference. So now that you know they had a hotel, now that you know they had a little rental car, all right, you know they had to eat, they slept. What you think? Definitely big time, right? This ain't no small change money. Somebody paid for them to journey up there, have accommodations, have food, do the job, and come back. And you trying to tell me they invested money out their own pockets to get sunglasses, bags, and hats? No. And they only put them up at the Red Roof Inn, so they don't think much of them. So somebody was using them. And with all of those law enforcement agencies coming together, you try to tell me you don't know who they was talking to. You got to look at the Browns. That's the only people to get that kind of protection from that many law enforcement groups. It says, sounds very weird. I pray he gets out of Cleveland. It said they found someone to take the file for the other people. It said it very well could be, but I'm pretty sure it's them. I'm pretty sure it's them. It said detective indicated the possibility that they was definitely hired. This is a job intended to make. They got them from Georgia, just like the NFL lied and said it was a foul. It's the same thing, except for these guys are from Georgia, so you don't have maybe they wanted to make it seem personal again. I'm telling you, there's an MO here, right? When something is done, it's kind of being done the same way all the time. And the truth only comes out when you get video footage or some other details come together. And they didn't want him there. That's obvious. Look at how poorly he was treated. They didn't just mismanage the quarterback situation. They abused Shedeur. And I said, I feel like they want him to quit. And Shedeur was talking about how tough Stefanski was. And I said, he means what he can't say, abused. He was abused. And look at how poorly he was treated in the draft. And look at how they lied. And look at who they was protecting. They lied on the family in Georgia to protect the people from New York. And let's see who the next head coach is of the Falcons. Because Raheem Morris and his GM got done dirty. They protected somebody. And when you have all of that kind of agency involvement, you ain't got no loose ends, boo. You ain't got no loose ends like that. Ain't nobody dead in this situation. They all can talk. And you trying to tell me they absolutely refuse to talk about some rinky-dink robbery? And you want me to believe they took money out their pocket to stay at the Red Roof Inn and rent a car? If I rented the car, I could have just took the plates off that car. But flock cameras. So they're not smart. And neither are the people that hired them. And the people that hired them don't think much of them because they put them at the Red Roof Inn. Nobody's sitting down coordinating nothing this detailed. For bags, sunglasses, and hats. And nobody is going to get people from Georgia to come to Ohio for nothing. There was something else. The contents of the nightstands, because they took it. They didn't rummage through it. They took it. They protected somebody who wanted to get some leverage on Shedeur. And has him show up with the same number of people that were in this robbery. And they was wearing 12 jerseys, and we know he didn't like Shedeur. And I even heard Skip Bayless try to say again, Haslam wants Shedeur. I'm like, I need you to stop telling that damn lie. That's the only kind of people get that kind of coordination. Well, I mean, if the Secret Service really for a random robbery for some hats, bags, and glasses, or was it so that the truth don't come all the way out? They closed the case before they talk to the public. They don't even have the last person. Does he know who hired them? I mean, he was in the car, right? Yeah, that's crazy. It said, did that pew pew? Nope, it did not. It's still there. No, Bridget, it didn't. They said they stole a rental car and drove. So they stole a rental car. All right. You stole a rental car. You didn't take the tags off of a stolen car that ain't in your name to drive 11 hours to go to a house that ain't in Shedeur's name. And you didn't pull up to the back and put the stuff in the trunk and get the hell on? No. You could have took his whole closet. I know I just went blurry because I moved. You could have took his whole closet, boo. You could have took his entire contents of his closet and put it in that little hatchback and drove all the way back to Georgia. And you got by 7 law enforcement agencies, but you don't know who the hell they was talking to. The people that paid for the hotel. I don't know whether they stole the rental car or not, but that might be a lie. I think if you say you rented a car, people look into who credit card was used because that's what would happen if you said you rented the car. They would immediately go to the place that owned the car and look to see who paid for it. Same thing with the hotel. Unless the Red Roof Inn take cash, I don't know. I don't think they do. Not in the modern era, no. So whose credit card was it? Yeah, you could buy a prepaid card. You sure can. It said no, the weapons were not stolen. That's what we're saying. It said from the field to the podium was Kevin Stefanski's last game. Shedeur doesn't gossip. I don't think they have nothing to do with it. It said so they left the weapons, right? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You left everything. Like when you think about what Shedeur has, you took some glasses, some bags, and some hats, and you had a car that you say you stole, so you really could have blamed somebody else. You didn't even have to take the license plate off the back of the car. If you stole that car, you just back right on up, pop the trunk, and put the stuff in. And the stuff we talking about, the pew pew, the Xbox. Did you see Shedeur's basement? Did y'all see Shedeur's basement when Coach Prime went to visit? Did you see all that stuff down there? Did you see all that stuff? They ain't take none of that. Didn't break the windows, didn't look at the cars, nothing. Leverage. The Browns. And I think all of that coordination is to make sure that didn't come out. If I say the car is stolen, no need to go look up who got the car, who paid for the car. So I'm cutting off some information that could be usable. I know you stayed at the hotel. Did I look at, oh, we used a prepaid card for that. Oh, okay. Come on now, guys. Look at how they protected the New York Giants. Lied on the Falcons in Georgia. Some people say they taking a fall for some other people. That those four are not those actual four. Some people still think it's the other four that was hanging out with Haslam, who people say was his grandkids, and people like, that's not his grandkids. So Shedeur still don't know the truth. But he said, and he chose his words carefully, I'm glad it happened the way that it did. While he was playing in a game that supposedly nobody knew he was playing in, while Bucky wasn't there. I mean, that just kind of points. That just kind of points, right? I say that, who knew he lived there? Strange Bucky wasn't there. They didn't take really anything that they could have taken. And since they were in a car that could accommodate everything, Shedeur's computers, did they take his computers? Unless they're not telling us, but all they said was bags, hats, and glasses. And Shedeur, when Coach Prime came, he had all his stuff. His stuff was right there. And that item, the pew pew, was sitting right out in the open, and you didn't take that? Really? You're a criminal and you didn't steal a gun? That's crazy. That's different. Definitely robbery for hire. That's not even a question. The question is, who are they protecting? Because either they sound like they refuse to tell, sound like either they lied about the car, or once again, somebody else is lying, just like they lied and said the door was unlocked, they just walked in. That was a bold-faced lie. And we wouldn't have known that if we didn't get what? The camera footage. We wouldn't have known that. I'm still going through the comments. If you're just not joining us, we talked about the robbery for hire that the police, 7 agencies working together, seemingly can't identify who the robbers called when they were at the door. Some people don't even believe those 4 are the 4 that did it. They think those 4 are supposed to take the fall for somebody else. I actually think those 4 probably are the 4 that did it, that they were hired. They don't want to say who it is, and nobody else wants to say either, because if it was a rinky-dink robbery, they would have gladly said that. It's just like the prank. Yeah, we don't know who that is. And they lied and said it was somebody else. It's the same thing. It's the same MO to slide in on a trend, get somebody to do something for you, lie and say it was somebody else, and that's it. Even when the truth come out, never come back and clean it up. How many times did you hear them say the door was kicked in? Did they ever come back and clean up the fact that what's on the internet? What's on the internet about the prank call is it was the defensive coordinator's son that made the call. It was not. What's about the robbery on the internet is that the door was unlocked. That's a lie. It's the same thing. Sliding in on another trend, getting somebody else to do something for you, scapegoating other people, creating confusion, and you just let it be. Same thing. I just come on. What happened? Are they saying it's the black eyes? It said it's crazy hard to believe if that's the case. Yeah. That's what they saying. Somebody else saying it's cap. I said, this is something you see in the movies. It is. It said the fourth suspect, in my opinion, is the person who hired them. So you think the getaway driver? I mean, honestly, I don't know because I'm just trying to think here. Like thinking this through, right? I think the getaway driver. I don't know if the driver. Normally, the driver of the car is the simpleton, and I can see why they're still on the run because they're like, I was just driving. I ain't know they ain't want to. They just asked me to drive. That's how I get the driver. But like people say, are these really them four? And they wasn't dressed like Atlanta boys. They Atlanta boys don't wear Balenciaga shoes like that. They don't. They don't. They just don't. They don't. I'm sitting here going through my mind. They don't. They just don't. They don't dress like that. They don't really care about that sort of kind of thing, right? Uh and again, right? You going to Ohio and you packing your best shoes and you stand at the Red Roof Inn and you got some Balenciaga shoes. I don't know that those four are those four. I don't know that for sure. But I know I'm gonna keep going back to that point because they lied. When people show you what they capable of, I'm telling you, I said it was them four. Now, see, they got video of them four in town, but does that mean them four committed the robbery? Not necessarily. Not necessarily, but I said it was them. I said somebody hired them to drive all the way from Atlanta to do something because they don't have any connection to the surrounding areas. But anybody that hired them must not be smart enough to know that flock cameras exist because everybody knows that. Mm, yeah, here it is right here. All right, let's go back to this. I think this is the video of the actual robbery, and we looking at body frame type, etc. Eh, hold on one second. All right, just this little clip right here. Hold on one second. It's funny how all week long the somebody had a clip of I know how to find it. Somebody had a clip of the robbery, just of the clip, and I must have saved it on my device to go back to it and just didn't really go back to it. So every time I would click on YouTube because it was bookmarked, it would go right back to that situation. Yep. Every time I was like, why does it keep popping up? So yeah, it just kept popping up. And I think it was because I was typing in I was just looking for like a YouTube bookmark. Let's see if we can. Mhm. And matter of fact, let's see. Here it is right here. All right. Why does Richard Sherman's robbery. Keep pointing back to Shedeur's. I don't know. Richard Sherman's robbery. And while it's true, athletes do get robbed, people say, oh, they look at their schedules. Again, sliding in on a trend. I think you got to look at the Browns. Yeah, I think you have to. I think you absolutely have to do that. I don't think you cannot do it. Mm-hmm. Let me use this one right here. All right. All right. That's when Coach Prime came to visit. Let's see if matter of fact, I think when Coach Prime came to see, I think if you look in the back, and Shedeur didn't run out and buy a whole lot of stuff. He didn't run out and buy a whole lot of stuff. All right, this is it right here. Okay, now you saw who they said it was, right? Okay. All right. I want you to examine this footage one more time because it's good to always go back and look at what was already out there. Because time has passed, right? Time has passed. Okay. Let's see. All right.
Police investigating this surveillance video capturing three.
See, now that was video of them outside the house. That's the clip I was trying to get back to. But if you go to, I don't want to use this one. If you go to the clip that was outside the house and you look at those three guys, they want you to believe that three guys drove from Atlanta, four guys drove from Atlanta, three got out the car, had a signal jammer, was wearing like Balenciaga shoes and some type of t-shirt, that the graphic t-shirt that they had on, etc. Right? And only took hats, bags, and glasses, and 7 agencies basically worked together to arrest the three. They can't get the fourth. Some people believe the fourth is the ringleader, the guy that I say rented the car, but they said it's been reported that they stole a rental car. I don't. But they had a hotel. So you stole a rental car and you paid for a hotel. That don't make no sense either. Why would you steal a rental car and pay for a hotel? I mean, the whole purpose of stealing a car is so don't nobody know it's you, but you paid for a hotel where they got cameras and everything. They rented that damn car and they don't want people to go back and look and see who paid for that car or something about the car, because maybe it can incriminate the person that works there that let them get the car. I don't know, but I don't think they stole the car. I mean, if you stealing a car, why would you steal a rental car? Why wouldn't you just steal a regular car? It's like they went through a lot of trouble to not get a regular car because they rented a car. And they covering. They covering for somebody. They covering for somebody. I'm telling you, they covering for somebody. It said they could have done it, but they were hired. Yeah, I think they did it. I think they were hired to do it. They were definitely hired. It said this was a scare stunt, just like the phone call. It's deeper than bags. This is an inside job. They were paid. It's risky. I agree, Mama Tia. It said it makes sense that they were hired. It's given a local crackhead to do the job. No, no. Very fishy, very suspect. These folks were recruited, right? Only family in-laws know where Shedeur Sanders live. Any family in-laws live in Atlanta. I don't know if they got people here, but that no. Okay, let's entertain that for a moment. Okay, let me poke some holes into that. Okay, I'm not going to his house with no signal jammer. That's not happening. That's one. Do I know that Bucky is not going that week? If so, I don't need to be looking at Florida's face and Bucky's face on the video. Did they take anything on his Twitch setup from his basement? Seemingly no. Seemingly, no. Did they take the pew pew? No. No. These guys were hired to come there, to break into the house, to 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 look for something, didn't find it. So they took the very minimal things they could take. They didn't take a PS5. They didn't take laptops. They didn't take all. Did you see that big stereo sitting there that Shedeur had when Coach Prime went to visit? Let's look at that video right fast. I feel like I had a clip of that video. I do. I feel like I had a clip, but I don't know if I got the part where do y'all remember Coach Prime putting his hand on a stereo at Shedeur's house? You ain't take that? You ain't take that. Yeah. Yeah. But you threw the clothes on the floor. They took the stuff in the cellophane. Remember the stuff Shedeur was looking at, the little Shedeur's Nike gear and the cellophane bag? What you gonna do with that? If it was specific to Shedeur's brand, what you gonna do with that? Nobody else has that. I said I thought they were some boosters, and I do believe somebody hired some boosters to come and go through the house. But I'm looking for something and take what you want. But they didn't take anything significant. That's why I said I think it was more about disrupting his peace, trying to maybe run him off. I mean, look at how he was being treated at the time. You can't ignore that. And if this was a regular person, like somebody called the police, you know what they would ask them? Do you have any enemies? Is anybody at your job? Anybody, where you hang out been different lately? Yes, they would ask that question. You cannot ignore how Shedeur was treated by the Cleveland Browns. You can't ignore that. You can't ignore what happened to Deshaun, and he worked there. And say, and the getaway driver could be dead, so they can't tie up the loose ends. That's next. That's next. I think I heard Bucky say he was assigned to work certain games. Bucky worked every game but that one. When after he started, he worked every game but that one. Go back and look. I even asked, why wasn't Bucky there? And how many times y'all heard me say, Bucky, if you see this video, just send me a smoke signal. Let me know why you didn't do that game. And then I didn't get a smoke signal. But when he came back, they stair-stepped him back in. And then that's Haslam with them kids. Or them four dudes who didn't look elated to be watching a football game at all. And it was four of them. And it's four of them. That ain't no coincidence. That's not. Why drive 11 hours to steal bags when your city has rich athletes you can rob? Right. For career criminals, it's not that serious. It's actually stupid. Yeah. It said, I don't know why you keep saying that, Miss Pamela. It said, and it was only released after Kevin was fired. Right. And everybody gone. Everybody gone. Everybody gone. And Shedeur's demeanor changed from. And Kevin wasn't fired immediately after the game, by the way. When you look at the walk-off video with Shedeur walking off the field, and then when he went to that podium, like night and day, that's why I said something happened. And Jerry Jeudy ran straight to the internet with his dumb ass and said, if y'all only knew, and people was like hating on him or whatever, calling him out for the most part. He sure did. Let me see if he took that down. And that didn't make no sense. He was trying to say something happened, and something did happen. Something did happen. Here it is right here. This is what he said. This was after the game, January 4th. This was 446. What day? And that got 1 million views. Lord have mercy. Or that was the 4th. That was right. So immediately after the game, this is what he said. And actually, the kind of t-shirt he had on after the robbery is similar to what the robbers had on, because I talked about it. Everybody don't dress like that. All right, I'm gonna let y'all see this. So immediately after the game, maybe he was still there. I don't know. This is all he posted. Let me know. Let y'all see my screen. Let's see. There it is right here. It has 1 million views now. Wow. This is how he posted. Y'all just don't know. And it's so funny to me. 1 million views. And people, I was like, it's cool because karma has no expiration date. It said, where's this energy during interviews when you can actually speak on you and the team's performance? This is why people don't mess with you. It said, then tell us. And it said, what's funny to me is that Devin Bush has the same amount of touchdowns as you this season, and he plays defense. Yeah. So people were, and he ran right to the internet and said that. So the way I saw it, and again, I'm missing a detail, but these details keep popping up. The way I saw it, Shedeur walked off the field. I looked at his demeanor. Remember, Shedeur was mic'd up. See, I didn't know Shedeur was mic'd up at the time. Did y'all know that? See, that's one of those details that kind of lets you know that when you saw Shedeur walk off the field and the fact that he was mic'd up and they were recording him the whole time, right? It lets you know that was his true demeanor when he walked off the field after he hugged Joe Burrow. He was happy. You can look at a person and see, like when Haslam saw those guys. Remember when Coach Prime had those guys? And Haslam, his smile dropped as soon as Coach Prime turned his back. And he was worried about the bodyguards. He was interested. He introduced himself to the bodyguards. And I was like, who does that? What billionaire gives a damn about another person's bodyguard? They supposed to be invisible, but seen at the same time. It's not about who they are. And he said, Jimmy. And I was like, who does that? Who does that? And I told y'all I had never seen Coach Prime with that many bodyguards. And after that, he was with Carucci. Let me tell y'all something. When Shedeur says, I'm glad it happened the way it did, that means something. It said, wonder did they ping all those phones? Of course, they should have. If not, they didn't want to. They didn't want to. Hired help. Yep. It said, oh my God, why they bring old McDaniels to the Browns? It's so bad. He used to work there. McDaniels used to work for the Browns. And he was only a wide receiver coach for 1 year. But suddenly the Browns are thrilled that he's suddenly available because they respect his brilliant offensive mind. I'm like, here we go again. My concern about McDaniels is he would be a puppet. He would not have autonomy. He would be a bridge quarterback, a bridge coach, probably to be there just a year or two, just to suppress Shedeur again. Because the Browns already own it. They already own it. It said someone paid them to do that. It said we're looking for something they did not find. It said also the house broken in was a rental. Right. So how do I know where he lives? He ain't even been there a year. He only been there since May. And I don't know that he had a rental in May. So 6 months, and you know where he lived in 6 months, and he don't have an Ohio license. He probably don't even get mail there. He already told you he got a post office box. Someone paid them to do that. They were looking for something. They did not find it. Also, the house broken into was a rental. Then he bought a house. His dad got him out that rental the night it happened. I heard people say that, but it looked like the same house to me. So y'all think it was a different house? Do y'all think it was a different house? I don't know. We did talk about that. People did share that he moved, but it looked like the same house to me, especially when he went down to the basement. Everything looked exactly like it did before. And the windows, and it's the same kind of house. Now, I don't know, if they just out there building the modern houses in Medina, because that's not a very wealthy place. I mean, it's better than Cleveland probably, but it's small, right? And you don't typically find custom houses like that. That's why I thought that was kind of weird. If you're just not joining us, we went over the people that robbed Shedeur, and there's some questions here. It's obvious that this was a robbery for hire. Apparently, the police have alluded to that, and I think it's very concerning that they could track people in from Ohio to Atlanta, but they couldn't track who hired them. About 7 agencies, including the Secret Service, got involved. So again, yeah, it's given they are protecting somebody. That's what it's given. It's given they're protecting someone or some people. And I feel like all the agencies involved are to protect the people, to skew what actually happened, because they said that they stole a rental car. I don't believe they stole a rental car. I think they rented a car and don't want people to look back in that direction as to who rented the car for them. Because one thing about a rental car, I do not believe you can use a prepaid card. I do believe you need an actual card, and systems can tell if it's a Cash App card. A hotel might take it, but Enterprise might not. You see, they could have got a Turo. Why they didn't get a Turo? And considering they drove there in a vehicle, was put up in a hotel, they probably paid for food. This was a job. And all they took was the contents of Shedeur's nightstands and some bags, some hats, some glasses, and some t-shirts. Not a pew that was clearly visible. Shedeur's stuff in the closet was just on the floor. Not gone. Normally when people rob you, if they're not looking for nothing, they take the stuff. His Twitch stuff still seems to be together. At the game, he was mic'd up. We just realized he was mic'd up. And I looked at the end of the video and I saw when he was talking to like Joe Burrow and how he was in a good way. But then when he came to the podium, he was not. Jerry Jeudy posted immediately, almost after the game, something about, if y'all knew what was going on or whatever, something like that.
What's up, bro? You good? What's going on, man? You good?
That's genuine. Yeah, that's genuine happiness you're looking at.
Yeah, I see your catch last week. Yeah. I'm feeling it. Yeah, I'm feeling it though. Keep your swag, bro. What's up, homie? You good?
I appreciate you falling for me, brother. I needed it.
At least we got the win, man. Hey, that's all you can ask for, bro.
At least we got the win, man. That's all you can ask for.
Get the win.
And that's for the most part right there is, and then when he comes to the podium, it's just, when he comes to the podium, he's not, his demeanor is gone. And Jerry Jeudy says after that, around that same time, y'all just don't know. And he's laughing with 2 laughing emojis. And it's so funny to me. That got 1 million views. People don't even know what he's talking about. There's no coincidences here. It's just not. And it's a shame that this has a dead end. Yeah, we got the guys that did the robbery, but we don't know who hired them. Black people being used against each other, because that's what it's given. That's exactly what it's given. That's why they are the people that they chose. That's what it is, guys. It said they hired them from Georgia to throw people off. Right. It said, right, Old McDonald and his ETOH issues. What's that? ETOH? What's that? Miss Pamela saying this is where you need to look. I say she's not right about that. I think he got too much to lose. It will come out in court. Okay, you think it's gonna make it to court, or they gonna end up taking a plea? Because if they take a plea, they don't have to go to court, right? Isn't that the whole point of a plea? I don't have to go to court. I want to know if we're gonna ever get an update that they got the 4th person, his name out there. It said, okay, they want McDaniels to create the same problems like he did for Tua. And then Cam Ward gets who? I don't know who Cam Ward gonna get, but I think Stefanski gonna end up in Miami. I think. Understand this. They just extended to McDaniels' contract, so they weren't planning to fire him. They said he has a losing record. Actually, His record is 35-33. Then when you look again, and that's not a losing record. And when you think about with Tua, why would you blame him? Right? And then he was 0-2 in the postseason. But then look at this. So we're going to shift over to McDaniels. All right. So they said McDaniels had a losing record. He only was the head coach for 4 years. He was a Rooney Rule hire. His father's black. His mother's white. He looked like El DeBarge a little bit. But I could kind of see that he has a Hispanic influence. I have a picture of his family. I'm going to share it. McDaniels had a 35-33 record. One of the things I noticed is in this, when we were paying attention this season, we knew Tyreek Hill wanted to get the hell out of there. And he was happy he was gone, so you knew it was dysfunctional. They said it was a lot of people being late. Somebody was late. Either McDaniels was late to work all the time, or the players were showing up late, that kind of thing, right? So John Harbaugh's record ain't too pretty, but he is who everybody wants, right? So in 2008, lost the conference championship. 2009, lost the divisional round. 2010, lost the divisional round. 2011, lost the conference championship. 2012, he won the Super Bowl. 2013, he missed the playoffs. 2014, he lost the divisional round. 2015, missed the playoffs. 2018, missed the playoffs. 2017, missed the playoffs. McDaniels has only been a coach for 4 years. Look at how long this man has been allowed to fail. And let's be honest here. He didn't just fail. He failed with a 3-time MVP. He lost the wild card round when Lamar was a unanimous MVP his very first year. Lost the divisional round. Lost the divisional round. Missed the playoffs. Lost the wild card. He's just out here losing. Just losing. And he is supposedly the best person on the market. No, he not. If this man had this long, why McDaniels get 4 years? And Stefanski had a losing record for 6 years. McDaniels had 4 years, and McDaniel replaced Brian Flores, who was fired for winning. And suddenly, after he has a contract extension, they fired him, and Cleveland is happy to get him. I wonder why. Because they're looking for a bridge. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. They're going to use him like a puppet, like they did in Miami. And what happened? The GM got fired. The black GM got fired. They used McDaniel to replace Flores, who got fired for winning. Then they used McDaniel to fire a black GM. What the hell did he do? McDaniel won more games than he lost. And they were like, well, he hasn't had any playoff appearances. He's 0-2. Okay. What does it say right here about Harbaugh? With a 3-time MVP. Really? So Cleveland is happy to get him. Why? Because McDaniel's salary was $3.5 million. Now, maybe with his extension, it went up. But they extended him 2 years, and some of the rest of the contract is private. That's how much Stefanski made, $3.5 million. So I know why they see dollar signs. Oh, we could get him for the same. We could get him to come over here and suppress Shedeur. Yeah. We only need a year. We don't want to win. I told you they was looking for a Stefanski 2.0. Don't be surprised if Stefanski end up in Miami. Now people saying Stefanski going to be an offensive coordinator in Philadelphia, where Jalen Hurts is. Why does Stefanski only get to go to teams where there's black quarterbacks? That's all the recommendations for him. Once Harbaugh came into the picture, Stefanski is not the lead candidate for the Giants job. Out of nowhere, McDaniels gets fired after 4 years. But Stefanski had 6 years to fill up. And they talking about putting him over there with Tua and Quinn Ewers, who got drafted dead last and went to UT and refused to get benched so the Manning kid could play. You see where I'm going with this? You see where I'm going with this? So when you look up Mike McDaniels, there was a lot of talk about if he should have really been a Rooney Rule candidate because of his family. They say he looked like this. They say this is who he looked like. And it's kind of true. He does kind of look like this, but this is El DeBarge, and I can see that El DeBarge is black, right? Being from New Orleans, I can see. The interesting thing about, I had the picture of his family. I must have got rid of it. The thing about his family is, yes, his father's black, so he qualified for the Rooney Rule, but his mother, while she appears to be white, when you see her father, you see his grandfather looks Hispanic of some sort. So that was a lot of controversy when he got the job. And when you looked at who he replaced, it was Brian Flores. What did Brian Flores allege? The NFL is rife with racism. That's why they hired McDaniel. But then they turned around and used McDaniel to get Chris Grier, who's black, fired. You see how they pit black people against each other? You see where I'm going with this? So my concern about McDaniel is he will be hired as a puppet to come do damage, and it would hurt Shedeur's career and his. That will be his last opportunity. So it's a way to get rid of Shedeur. It's a way to get rid of McDaniel. And they keep using McDaniel against black people like he's not black. I wouldn't even want to be that person. So that's why they excited about McDaniel and his bright offensive mind, but he was just fired. See how they keep packaging up these coaches? Like they keep romanticizing Harbaugh. Harbaugh is washed. He won one Super Bowl. And after that, just losing. And then with Lamar, how you got a 3-time MVP, but you can't make nothing happen in the playoffs. And when y'all lose, you only lose because Mark Andrews dropped the ball. Or because the kicker you consoling in the tunnel misses a kick that he was paid millions to make. When other kickers get fired immediately for missing critical kicks, like Young Hoku out of Atlanta. And you want Lamar to have sympathy for the kicker. You want Lamar to have sympathy for Mark Andrews. And that's exactly what they wanted. When it's documented 5 years ago, Mark Andrews goes missing in big games. That's how they keep losing. Because they keep going to him and he keep going MIA. But he just got a $36 million contract after 14 years. He failed up. So my issue with McDaniel is that the Browns will use him to be a puppet, to suppress Shedeur, and ruin both of their careers. And Andrew Berry going to get fired too. So they're going to recreate the Atlanta Falcons script. What exactly is that? They got Michael Penix Jr., Shedeur, Michael Penix Jr. Hopefully Shedeur don't get injured like Michael Penix Jr. because that's the only way they moved him out the way so Kirk Cousins could play. If they draft a white veteran or sign, or if they sign a white veteran or they draft a white player, and everybody knows Shedeur's QB1, you're going to hear the conversation about Shedeur. Should he be forced to compete again? I say no. I dropped the poll today. I said, should Shedeur Sanders have to compete again? Most people already said no. And they know that they're going to get that talk. They know they're going to get that. But just like Atlanta wanted to go back to Kirk Cousins, but they couldn't because of the fans, Kirk Cousins still got to play because Michael Penix Jr. suddenly ended up with an ACL tear, which moves him out of the way for 9 to 10 months. So by any means necessary. And then fans going to hate McDaniel, and then he going to get fired. Shedeur going to get moved on and injured and moved on. Or injured, can't be traded, and he'll be back for year 3 to be suppressed behind somebody else because he ain't been the same since his injury. That's what they're going to say. That's the Atlanta Falcons script. Then, just like in Atlanta, the GM Barry going to get fired. The head coach McDaniel going to get fired. And whoever else it is that's coming in is going to take his job. That's what's supposed to happen to Michael Penix Jr. I'm listening to Atlanta fans talk about, oh, yeah, Harbaugh will be good for Michael Penix Jr. I just go, It's two things y'all wrong about. Who your starter gonna be and who the head coach is. Because if he didn't help Lamar, why would he help Michael Penix Jr.? Come the hell on. Talking about they unlocking Lamar's passing game by keeping him in the pocket. That's a lie. They were holding him back so he could get injured by his own O-line and did. You see what they're capable of. Don't let it get lost. Mama Tia said, happy lunch, Nola. It says, see you tonight. It said, you're definitely doing the damn thing. It said, no prepaid enterprise. Definitely ain't taking prepaid. See, Mama Tia, no. Enterprise don't take prepaid cards. It said, I don't know. The Red Roof Inn still existed. Me either. It said, low key for high dollars. Right. So not spending a lot of money. It said, darn it, somebody say something. Oh, higher than reveal. Right. Totally agree. Thank you, Mama Tia. Thank you for the lunch money. That's how we look at it. Mama Tia's right. Enterprise don't take prepaid cards. In fact, and I told you, systems know if it's like a Cash App card or if you went to the Walgreens or the CVS and bought one of them prepaids, it's not going to take it. Now, maybe the Red Roof Inn takes that because it's the Red Roof Inn. Maybe that's why they didn't go to the Marriott because they're not going to take that, right? But at the same, and don't forget, a lot of these hotels, when you book, they don't just, when you pay or whatever, they hold a certain amount out. And it can't just be the room amount. You got the incidentals and then they go over. Sometimes they do twice. They'll tell you, we might charge twice the amount to hold for incidentals and for other stuff. Yeah, that's what they do. So the fact that they are concealing or came up with a story on how they got the rental car. They stole a rental car. No, they didn't. They did not. Because you would have stole something else. You would have stole that car. You saw that car, they got the cheapest rental car. The cheapest rental car, the cheapest hotel. How much is the Red Roof Inn? Let me look. The Red Roof Inn is $59 a night. Damn, that's cheap. Yeah, here it is right here. The Red Roof Inn in Medina, Ohio. Yes, they can say it's $59 a night. Yeah, room rates, $59 a night. That's cheap. So they got the cheapest rental car. Yep, $53.09. Ooh. And how many rooms y'all think they had? It was 4 of them. So they spent $59. They needed money for food. They needed money for gas. And they got a rental car, the cheapest rental car out there. That's why it was so little. And they didn't fill it up to the brim to go back 11 hours to Georgia. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. All right, I guess we're going to wrap up. Thank you, Ramon. I appreciate it. It said they need to send those awful coaches to coach. Right. That's why I said Tomlin to Ravens would be. Tomlin got a job. Why he got to move, coach? Tomlin to the Ravens will be good, but the man got a job. Let's stop taking black people's jobs. I want you to pay attention to who getting fired and moved around here, right? 2 black GMs fired. Who was it? Atlanta, who they already said they got a raw deal. Atlanta, Raheem Morris, the GM Tony Fontenot, now McDaniels. That's 3, right? Then when you look at all the white coaches that got fired, except for who was it? There was only one coach that Daboll. Everybody else that got fired had a black QB1. And why is that? Because the next coach gets to determine who the QB1 is. That's why. So it's black people being fired all over the place. Just like in corporate America, because even though the NFL is corporate America, it ain't regular for sure. 300,000 black women got fired. You think that was an accident? No. So in the NFL, we see black GMs being fired. We see black coaches being fired. And we see coaches with black quarterbacks. So what are they doing? Moving black people out. And McDaniels is one of them, but they want to move him over to do what he already did. If he's not good and they fired him, why are the Browns so keen on him? The Browns, the first person they want to interview is Monken from Baltimore. It's as if Haslam is looking for somebody to disrupt Shedeur like Lamar. Yeah. Oh, we're going to get McDaniel to do it because he black. Pitting black people against each other. Hence the 4 thieves in the robbery. That was clearly for hire. And they protected somebody. They protected somebody. Okay, I'm gonna play this clip right here. I wish it was the full clip. I wish it was the full clip, but it's not. It's not the full clip. Let's see. I wonder if they showed a part so where Haslam go and meet the bodyguard. Yep. Okay, this is here. I'm gonna play this right here. I'm gonna play this right here. Yep. I wanted y'all to see this because I'm gonna tell you something. Now here's the question, right? What would they do if they found out it was the Browns? What would they do? That's the tough decision, ain't it? You got to be ready to do what? You got to be ready to walk away. All right. I want y'all to watch this. I shared this multiple times. How
you feel? We're glad to have you. Are we taking care of you? You need anything? Let's play 12 play well.
Let's say 12
Good to
play
see you,
well
man.
today.
Hey guys, Jimmy. Good to see you all. Yeah.
All right. So the guy he was talking to, that Jimmy introduced himself to, because he now remember, Jimmy's a billionaire, number one. Okay, he got to move different, right? They got to move different. Look at how nice he was, as if they wasn't over there abusing Shedeur. Do you see how fake that was? They over there abusing the hell out of Shedeur, and they happy when they see Prime and he feeling all over him. I told you about that touchy stuff, feeling all over him and everything. And then he introduces himself to the bodyguard. He zeroes right in on the bodyguard and introduces himself. There was the older gentleman standing with a hat on to the side. I think that was his bodyguard or that was his people. He looked like a random stranger, but he wasn't. I saw him in another clip. I said, that guy was with Jimmy. So understand this, right? If in Washington, the front office is accused of meddling with the coaching staff, player usage and personnel who plays, and I have accused Stefanski of the same thing. What does that say about Haslam? It said, and kept it pushing. Yep. It said, we just got to fight like hell, man. Yep. It said, God is going to use Shedeur and the praying aunties and uncles to block schemes to target him. Yeah, we definitely got to keep praying because it ain't over. It said, because that's why they need to call for it if it happens. It said, Houston would be forced to sell, or Haslam would be forced to sell. Right. I believe it too. It said, I still believe change is here. It is yes, I hope AB is using his brain. I hope he is too. Send Tomlin outside the AFC North, better for Cleveland Browns, and seeing the Steelers' tears would be better. I mean, that's cool, but I think now with what's going on, with you learning that this was a robbery for hire, and all the evidence points back to the Browns, and it does. It does. It just does. Unless Bucky can tell us why it is. He wasn't at that one game that nobody knew Shedeur was playing in. And that ain't the only thing. These guys were hired to come from Atlanta. I mean, from Georgia. Not Atlanta, but Georgia. Yeah. Why? Look at how the prank caller got blamed. And it wasn't him. It was the people from New York. They protected somebody. You don't get 8 agencies involved, law enforcement agencies across the country and federally. The Secret Service? And you can't tell who hired them? Come the hell on now. These dudes ain't that bright. They didn't even take nothing. They didn't even take nothing. And they stayed at the Red Roof Inn and had the smallest rental car out there, which means they didn't have a lot of money. Or somebody didn't give them a lot of money. And they didn't even take nothing. You didn't do all of that. You didn't come out of pocket for just that. You had to get gas. Gas ain't free. You had to get there and back. Only people who either do this for a living, invest money to go steal nothing. No, they would have stole way more than that. And it was a lot there to steal. And they didn't steal it. So people see it for what it is. It's different now. See, the toothpaste is out the tube. You can't even look at this in a football perspective no more. You can't even think about Shedeur just getting hurt. You can't even sit here and celebrate the offseason because now you got to keep your head on the swivel. Why? Because they already going in on him again. He got to prove himself. So if you're just going to do the same thing again, instead of crushing his hand this time, what you going to do now? And who did they get to do that? And his father was sitting right there. But again, they didn't think nobody was going to see it. But what did they do? They got caught on camera again. Did they ever address it? No, not really. Shedeur just had to come back like Lamar and act like nothing happened. All for him to be sabotaged again. Stefanski, and when he was mic'd up, touching all over Shedeur. But still setting Shedeur up. That's the craziest part of all of it. That's why he can't trust nobody. Again. Because you smile in my face every day. I just watched you crush my hand. You touch on me and smile and attaboy me, and you leave me to get sacked, and you refuse to make rotations so I can get injured. Same thing with Harbaugh with Lamar. This crazy, y'all. This is racism. So if this is racism, and the prank call was racism, then what the hell you think the robbery was? If I'm using McDaniels against Chris Grier and Brian Flores, and then I fire McDaniels, why the hell wouldn't I hire some black people and get them to rob Shedeur's house? Of course I would. Remember Cam Robinson and number 72? What do I have them doing? Allowing Shedeur to get hurt. Oh, the touchy-feely stuff. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. And you can't trust the owner. Because look at who he keeps trying to interview. Monken, who said, it's like, oh, let me get Monken because he sabotaged Lamar. What? That's exactly how it was like he was thinking. Oh, let me get McDaniels. We loved him. He was a wide receivers coach for 1 year. How you love him so much? Why you ain't keep him then? His brilliant offensive mind. Then why he get fired? You see? Already lining up people to suppress Shedeur. All right, I guess I'm going to get out of here. So y'all know what it is, a robbery for hire. And they closed the case and they can't find out who hired them. The fourth person is still on the run. 8 agencies work together across the country and federally, and they can't get the fourth person, but they could get Osama bin Laden. They track people from Ohio who stayed at the Red Roof Inn and with a rental car back to Georgia, but not who they called on the phone. I guess we'll be back tonight, guys. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Everybody, the consensus, I'll let you know the consensus is this is some BS. This was a robbery for hire. And I don't know if people have a consensus on that they covering for somebody else, but people do believe it was a robbery for hire. So I'll be back tonight at 10:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports. Thank you, everybody. And I'm out on McDaniel. I'm out on McDaniel because I said I think he would be just a puppet. So I'm going to see y'all later. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports.